I did not know you were going to be in the jungle. I did not know you were going to be in Andrew Whitworth's jungle for a night as the Pittsburgh Steelers came to town as 5.5-point favorites. Then it was 4.5-point favorites in the middle of the show. Then 5.5 again. And I'll tell you what, early in that game, it felt like the Pittsburgh Steelers were going to do what we thought they were going to do at the beginning of the show yesterday, which was absolutely run away with it. But don't let Joe Flacco get hot. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers in this Pittsburgh Steelers offense has been getting better and better as the year went on. He's throwing dots all over the place. DK Metcalf stepping over people, not getting personal fouls because they're saying that's not that big of a deal because of how smooth it was, how athletic it was, and how great of a play it was. It was Thursday Night Football, primetime Aaron. It looked like it was 20 years ago, Aaron Rodgers. He's running all over the place, showing he still got it. And Jonnu Smith, who had a penalty earlier on the drive, gets a massive touchdown. Early, it was like, wait a minute, are the Pittsburgh Steelers going to make this look too easy? Then let's go to before the half, the second quarter. Boom! Jamar Chase, Joe Flacco. Jamar would have 16 receptions on the evening, and obviously even dropped one, which Joe Flacco lost his mind. But if you got Jamar Chase on your team, you're going to throw him the ball. Aaron's going to throw the ball to the other team, AJ. What the hell's going on here?
Yeah, I don't know. This is, I think maybe got caught up in the moment. Maybe throw it up and get DK, give him a chance, right? Maybe get some PI down the field. I don't know. But these guys, I'm sure. So like I said, I was there in person watching them. These guys both were slinging it, man. Like, first off, Joe Flacco, watching him in the pocket and watching his super quick release and how smooth he was blew my mind. It really didn't. I played against Joe 10, 12 years ago, 15 years ago, whatever it might be now. I was blown away at the quarterback performance, I think, on both sides last night.
Absolutely. The old men brought it. And I like the show of respect afterwards. A couple hits on the chest by both of them, a little pat on the head from Joe Flacco to Aaron Rodgers. It was a nice, interaction of respect because if you can play football at that position for this long, obviously there's a greatness that's in your brain and a greatness that is in your body. And I think that greatness is exactly what Tomlin was talking about whenever he said, hey, Andrew Berry, what the hell are we doing? Why, and a little tap on the head, I think, is awesome. Joey Flacco just doing one of these. Because he is Italian, so he might want to go in for a little smooch on bow. Could have been a grazie prego situation there. We don't know, but obviously the respect between the two is fantastic. But Joe Flacco, the respect that Mike Tomlin has for him, very real. And I think Mike Tomlin last night, you said you played against Joe Flacco 15 years ago. Mike Tomlin did too. And he was having flashbacks of whenever he was with the Baltimore Ravens, and they were running wild. And those Ravens-Steelers games were insane, both in Pittsburgh and in Baltimore. And Joey Flacco's liable to do absolutely anything. And last night was a Joey Flacco masterpiece. He said afterwards, he didn't even know some of the play calls. I didn't even know what was going on there. And he beat this Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Let's go to one half of the hammer. Dahn! Cowboys AP tone. Pittsburgh Steelers defense last night seemingly non-existent. Joe Flacco didn't even know the play calls. Tone. Didn't even know what he was doing out there.
Yep, Steelers got Flacco'd last night. When he got traded to the Bengals tie-in, I knew it was going to be one of us, whether it was going to be that first game on a Sunday or that second game on that Thursday Night Football. We got Flacco'd, and Tomlin knew that was going to happen. And I hope Tomlin listened to this show yesterday because we talked a lot about the emotional quotient, which is basically your thoughts and your emotions seep into other people's thoughts and emotions. He was talking about Joe like it was prime Tom Brady, and it seeped into this defense last night, and they treated it like that. They were afraid of him all night long. They sat back. They let him do whatever he wanted. Just an absolute masterclass from the defensive staff and the defensive backfield as a whole. Just overall, it looked like the week 1 and 2 of the defense. Edelman came out last year and said, we always knew what the Steelers were going to do. Jamar Chase came out last night and said it as well. So, maybe there's some things that needs to be changed on that side of the ball. Also, the record on Thursday Night Football. Maybe Thursday Night Football is the problem. I don't know. But just overall, an absolute disaster class and a very, very frustrating night for the Steelers fans.
Yeah, I could imagine that being the case because the first few games, the defense didn't look great, and everybody in Pittsburgh was saying, this defense not good enough to win a Super Bowl. I know we're winning games here, but this defense ain't it, especially with all the money that was being spent on that side. Then you guys get some massive wins over Carson Wentz and Dylan Gabriel, and everything starts looking good, Tone. And all of a sudden, the Steelers defense is back. I read those tweets were sent to Tone yesterday, so that is just me talking shit to Tone, and also all of Pittsburgh. I guess you can kind of take that as a jab as well, because a lot of people seemingly thought that this was possible with Joe Flacco and the offensive weapons that they have, which takes us to the toxic table at Boston Connor. Hey, Con Man, now you knew that Sweet Feet footsteps, Joey Flacco could pull a zone option for himself whenever he doesn't even know the play call, and then he said he figured it out, and it was too late to actually do a shift that would have helped him. So he actually just kept Jamar there and ended up just picking up this first down, backed up at his own 10 in the fourth quarter with 5 minutes left in a 10-point game. Okay, so that's insane to think that Joe Flacco did that. But you thought, Mike Tomlin's going to do everything he can to get Jamar Chase out of the game. I think that was a good thought. They didn't. He went crazy. But you also said T. Higgins. Let's look out for T. Higgins. What about the brainiac decision he made at the end of the game?
Yeah.
What about the obviously hitting it right up the gut in between? I think it was the Tampa 2, not 100% sure. T. Higgins, superstar performance last night, and you felt it coming from a mile away, Con Man. What did you see from the Cincinnati Bengals team? Now, late in crunch time, obviously making that decision to be able to run the clock down for Money McPherson to come in and win that game. What a night from him, by the way. He's all the way back, seemingly, for the Cincinnati Bengals. But T. Higgins shows up. Noah Fant shows up. You kind of were on that early yesterday. What did you expect, and what did you see, Con Man?
Yeah, those two played great. A couple things fell short. Fant getting 50 receiving yards would have been nice. He got 44. But no, I mean, footsteps Flacco, man. I should have known. I woke up. First thing I said to myself was in Gumpy's voice, week 2 Flacco, pal. And I knew I should have done it then after the program and gone with the Bengals. But instead of, I put my faith in Mike Tomlin. I put my faith in a defensive game plan that I assumed was going to be good. Little did I know Mitt McMahon drew up the defense for the Pittsburgh Steelers yesterday. I get it now. I get why Steelers fans want Mike Tomlin fired all the time. This was one of the stupidest things I've ever seen. Darius Butler tweeted late in the game. It was one of their gotta have it downs. And they had 2 guys go to Drew Sample over Jamar Chase. I don't know who came up with the plan. Darius Slite, I don't know if he was out for the game after he went out or if he came back because I was so disgusted watching the Steelers defense. I tried not to. I just decided to enjoy Joe Flacco. But all of a sudden now the Bengals are all the way back. They win a game like this. Now they're not going to, you would think, they're not going to sell, a Trey Hendrickson. They're not going to trade some of the pieces that they might have before this game because now, it's 3 wins. You would hope Burrow gets back for the last 8 of them, maybe the last 7 of them. 10 should get you in. It's shocking what the Bengals did. It's more shocking what the Steelers did or tried to do or what they didn't do. But, I mean, it was a great football game, dude. To be honest.
They just started running slants and outs last night. Like, that was pretty cut-of-the-edge type of stuff.
Yeah, Jamar had
Take what the defense gives you, Tone. That's what you do.
AJ, how were the vibes in the building? It felt amazing. Did you guys know that Joe Flacco was? You felt like Joe Flacco was going to come back and do that?
Yeah. So I honestly, I was sitting in traffic we stayed in a hotel. My kids and wife were there at the stadium. I was sitting in traffic about, 0.1 miles from the stadium, and I could see everybody. I was there for about an hour and a half trying to get my parking spot, and the people. I was shocked, not shocked, but I guess pleasantly surprised how juiced the people were. They were tailgating everywhere. Everyone's wearing white. And then in the stadium, it was so loud. They did a good job of their game day atmosphere too, man. Like the lights, everything was on point, I feel like. And those fans, man, it was awesome to see those fans and how crazy rabid they were. They never got down on them. I was used when I was a kid to go to Bengals games at Riverfront Stadium. You'd hear people yell, "We want an aquarium, sell the team," all those kind of things. There was none of that last night. Just people from Ohio coming together and so pumped for a big win. It was a magical experience. I got to thank Brick. He's the director of operations now in Cincinnati. He was an equipment guy when I was there. He hooked us up, was unbelievable, just an unbelievable person, Pat. The people that make things go behind the scenes with football teams. They're special people, and he really helped us out and got to see Pac-Man too as well. Saw Pac-Man underneath the stadium when I walked in. He was awesome. Pac-Man and Tish, Boom Heron, who I know you know as well. It was a great night, man. It was really, really fun.
I'm happy to hear that. And obviously, Ohio people and Ohio football people behind the scenes at every football operation are going to be all in for the cause. And people you definitely want to know. I'm happy to hear that you got a chance to go experience that live. What was your guys' thoughts when Broderick Jones just tackled Aaron Rodgers? So the whole so Aaron Rodgers last night, dude, I mean, Joe Flacco obviously as well. I mean, let's not get it twisted. Joe Flacco had a night that I hope everybody has respect for Joe Flacco going forward. And maybe Colts fans. At some point, hopefully some of these Colts fans that were trying to kill me last year, a lot of those times, and now I think they're kind of seeing it all. I think they're starting to realize there was a reason why I was excited about Joe Flacco being our quarterback.
Certainly.
Joe Flacco is 40 years old, still playing in the NFL. Is that because everybody with a football mind wants to pay a 40-year-old quarterback? No, it's because the guy is really good at the football. And he talks about how much he loves doing it. It's like the way he talks, he looks like he wants to play for another 10 years. Now, that love of the game, both these men obviously have to commit this much of their life to it. But like Joe Flacco, growing up in Pittsburgh and understanding the Pittsburgh Steelers, Baltimore Ravens kind of rivalry, the way he handled that in the situation that he was and how he came through that and won a Super Bowl for Baltimore, it's like Joe Flacco is good with me forever. So if he's 55 years old and he's potentially being allowed an opportunity to play for the Indianapolis Colts in a state that we were in years past, I'm probably still going to get excited about it strictly because I see him like Tomlin sees him, which is a guy. I mean, I don't want to stress this too many times, but it's like crazy to think about at this stage, especially against the Pittsburgh Steelers. He said he didn't understand some of the play calls. Zach Taylor would be sending a play call, and fuck, I don't know what that is. And he's a quarterback. And it's like, and then he probably makes something happen out of it, and they win this game. And they put up over 30, and then obviously all of Cleveland is losing their mind.
Rizzo's losing it.
Oh my God! Just the thought of what the Cleveland Browns offense has been, and then what Joe Flacco has been on a team now. The Cincinnati Bengals are constructed to be a quarterback's friend.
Yes.
If they can protect at all against anybody, they got weapons everywhere. Like Joe Burrow is supposed to lead that team to the Super Bowl, and they got weapons for Joe Burrow. That is what they decided to pay. Now, the offensive line, I think they've tried their best. They've never really been able to get it, but Joe Flacco had some pockets last night, and Joe Flacco was moving pretty good. But the weapons they have, I assume, is not comparable other than Jerry Jeudy up there in Cleveland, so I think it's a little different story. But like them thinking, you let this guy out of the building, you just beat the Pittsburgh Steelers on Thursday night. You just went for 342. And we got rid of this guy whenever we started the season with this guy. So instead of starting a rookie and saying, hey, we're definitely in a new era here on offense, we start this guy, Joe Flacco. Then we decide to get rid of him, trade him in the division. You know, there's probably some Cleveland Browns fans that think it wasn't the best decision like Mike Tomlin did. And then he goes crazy like this. It's like, this guy was our opening day starter. Now he's doing it. And then what we got to do, there's some people in Cleveland losing their mind. But there's also people in Pittsburgh saying this is exactly what Mike Tomlin was talking about. And then there's people all around the league that are saying, like Connor said, is Cincinnati going to survive this year like they've done in the past? In the past, they've been dead out of it. And then they've had to climb themselves out of it always. Whether it's injuries or just starting slow, Cincinnati Bengals are always putting themselves behind the 8 ball. And then there's been a couple times where they've been able to catch up and run the table. So is there a thought that the Bengals aren't dead? I guess comes out of last night is certainly a real one. And then for the Pittsburgh Steelers, what are they, Tone? What are the Pittsburgh Steelers? They still in it? I mean, Universe Ball told me yesterday to take the Bengals plus 5.5 twice. Told me that twice when I threw it in there in a Thunderdome.
Gotta listen.
So then, whenever I shoot the Universe Ball before the season, it's for the Pittsburgh Steelers to win a Super Bowl. Splash. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Splash.
Yeah.
Universe.
Oh, yeah.
It was a no-doubter. So are the Steelers still on a run to potentially win a Super Bowl like you thought a week ago, or are you completely out on that, Tone?
I would say I'm mostly out on that. You asked who. You asked who they are. And last night was the night that you can do something that the teams of the last 5 years, who are good teams, they're good football teams, but we know are probably not going to win the Super Bowl. You had a chance to do something that they haven't done. Go on the road, win the Thursday night division game, and actually look like a team that can put lower or lesser teams away. And they did not do that. They started great. It was 10-0. You know, everybody was feeling good. And then they came down and scored, and then Aaron was like, he threw the fucking interception, which was fine. He was feeling it. He was kind of seeing what he wanted to do. But then there was another interception. And then somehow they were losing at half when they had outgained the Bengals by like 150 yards in the first quarter. But no, like this is just a team that's going to, win their 9,
Wild pick
10.
right here. Wild pick right here by DJ Turner. We got to give him credit. This got him 3 points before the half. Huge flip right. But what a pick. I mean, I had no idea he came down with this. I mean, the fact that you're able to do this, especially with DK, is unbelievable.
Yeah, but like Rodgers was awesome. Rodgers has been awesome for this team all season long. He was awesome last night. He's perfect for this offense. The ball, he hucked it 70 yards last night for that Hail Mary. Like, that was awesome. Rodgers has been great. This was all on the defense last night. They ran for Jaylen Warren ran for 100. You would have told me yesterday that Jaylen Warren runs for 140. Rodgers throws 4 touchdowns. We score 31 points. I thought it would have been an absolute blowout. It was not. They did not do anything on the defensive side they've been doing the last 3 games. Herbig barely played, which is insane. We had a segment on Herbig this week. Nope, just probably make the playoffs and then Yeah, probably lose
Oh,
first.
Come on.
One game.
You want 4-2. You're 4-2. You're still winning games. And let's go back to that Hail Mary at the end. I think there were some wide receivers there that thought he was going to throw it 79 yards. Did you see them back at the back of the end zone there? If he would have been able to do that, that would have been absurd. But he's 41 years old, and I guess it's the longest pass or throw in an NFL game since something. Obviously, Aaron can still spin it at his age, and I think there were some people potentially questioning his arm strength last week whenever he underthrew somebody. Here's the next-gen stats. Aaron Rodgers' Hail Mary pass attempt that resulted in an incomplete travel with 69.8 yards in the air, the longest recorded pass attempt since at least 2017. So he's 41 years old. This guy in the league has the longest ball, so his arm, obviously, he's going to feel good about that this morning. You see that yet? Mm-hmm. Somewhere between 68 and 70 yards is what he's going to say, too. Somewhere between 68 and 70 yards, which I think he's already done to us on our show, so we would say 69, which is exactly what he just threw. So that's a little bit of an interesting situation here that certainly just brewed in front of our face here in real time. I should have thought about that earlier. But that looked exactly like that beer can toss at Tahoe right there. Legit. When I watched that, I was asleep for this, obviously. I'm so sorry. Yes, exactly. Looked like he just woke up, just went into the fridge. Somebody called for it in the lake. All right, boys, you got it. Little tiny two-step. Boom. Just go ahead and huck that thing. And it's unbelievable that he can still do that. It's unbelievable how much he's running. It truly is. It's cool to watch. Ty, what's your big takeaway from last night, brother, as an independent viewer?
The Flacco thing. I'm kind of just, reaffirming, like, hey, I wasn't an idiot to think that going into the Packers game. Like, you can tell with the Bengals, like, that is kind of they've raised their ceiling. Like, we all saw how things were going with Jake Browning. Like, the season pretty much was over. If they can protect Flacco, like, they can beat teams. They had some timely takeaways last night as well. But the Rodgers stuff, it's just so fun watching him play and, like, being able to pick out plays and be like, man, that feels like 2014 in Green Bay. That looks like 2016, like when he was winning MVPs and stuff like earlier in his career. And the big thing is I'm glad he didn't, you mentioned a little bit earlier, Pat, I'm glad he didn't break his leg when Broderick Jones jumped on his back and he went absolutely ballistic.
Yeah, he starts with this. He ragdolls him way too long.
He had flashbacks of his Achilles getting blown out. You could tell. He was not expecting that in any way, shape, or form. But no, it's far and few between when we get that good of quarterback play on Thursday nights. So
what the fuck was going on?
Crazy.
Yes, he was actually pissed. If people are on the internet were like, was he actually mad? I don't know him. It's like, in the moment he was like very, very pissed. He'll move past it, obviously. He's appreciative of this guy. But this follows into that. I assume Aaron was like, yes, what are we doing? And Jones, to Jones's defense, he's just super duper excited.
Well, then he tries to give him a concussion too after.
Rod loves to celebrate. This is not the first time. He loves to celebrate.
He doesn't know how big he is. Like a small dog that barks and thinks they can take on. He doesn't realize how big he is. That, like, hey, man, I'm a monster.
I think he's going to be changing the way he celebrates with the quarterback going forward. Just if I had to guess. But on a note, they had a game-winning drive.
Yep.
Like, there's a game-winning drive in the Pittsburgh Steelers' mind. This goes back to the Miami Dolphins just a couple weeks back against the Chargers, where less than a minute left, they had a game-winning drive. That's tough to watch every single time. They had a less than a minute game-winning drive. And then all of a sudden, no. And then you got Tua going, we got players, and it just spirals into an entire thing. Steelers had a game-winning drive. They come back, they win it, and Mike McCarthy even called it. He's like, in the AFC North football, there's going to be a lot of close games, and there's nobody right out of the ball. And he's saying, Aaron Rodgers, if it's a close game, he's got to have the most, if not. He just started making up stats about Aaron in the end that he hadn't done actual research. And it's like, well, here we go again. Late in the fourth, you need a touchdown, only can have a touchdown. Aaron does that with the offense. I'm not saying it's just Aaron, but you get it in this entirety. And then Joe Flacco, you left too much time. You left too much time for Joey Flacco. And T. Higgins sliding there. And then Jamar Chase, after the game, was asked about it, would you slide? And he said, if you want to win the game, you slide there. It's like, yo, that's a great culture. Yeah. That's just
they're coached well.
Immediately.
Yeah. Exactly.
I think that's very indicative of, like, the way Zach Taylor is delivering his message, that you're two number ones, right? You got two number one wide receivers there, that a touchdown is certainly good for maybe incentives, and because they put into contracts, hey, if you score, we'll give you more money. So that's my job, I guess, is to do that, because this is what I'm getting incentivized to get paid more in my profession. And then they say, hey, why don't you be a good team player and not score? And it's like, well, why'd you put in my contract to score a touchdown? I get more money. Well, the team win. Don't you care more about the team? Like, that is always a defense that players could have, but every player wants to see their teammate make the right decision in the moment. You know, like there's a Super Bowl touchdown. I think I think it might. I forget who it was. Maybe it was Ahmad Bradshaw. I'm not 100% sure. It might have been Ahmad Bradshaw where I think he was running Super Bowl. Holy hell, here we go. And then oh no, late. And then he does the stop fall thing there. And I think we all appreciated the fact that he remembered, oh no, I shouldn't do it. But also like the fact that he got his touchdown. You know, so it's like a Super Bowl touchdown, which is a huge deal for life and everything like that. So T. Higgins doing this on a Thursday Night Football in prime time when you want to pad stats and everything like that. And he probably has incentives in there to make more money if you do it. Like, dude. And then Jamar Chase saying the same thing. Maybe since he isn't dead, look out for the jungle.
Yeah, in defense.
Look out for the jungle.
In defense of the Steelers defense that could have got a stop on that last drive, Jamar had only had 21 targets at that point. So they had there's no way they could have known that they were going to go to him twice to start that drive and leave him wide open.
And he had 94 yards of yak, by the way, so it wasn't as if he was
just
look, he's wide open. Like, that's the crazy part. It's not like he had, 16 catches for 100 yards and, 10 yards of yak. Like, the guy had 94 yards of yak. He was catching the ball, and then he was just running around wild. Like, genuinely, before I always thought, like, all right, fire Tomlin, whatever. This is a game where it's like, okay, who the hell did this? Because this is like just as egregious as a ref screwing up a game, I think. Like the best player in the league, the best wide receiver, top two, whatever, in the league, and he's going to get 23 targets and catch 16 balls. Like, did they even watch? Do they know he's on the team? Like, it makes no sense.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of Steelers fans asking the same questions you are. It's early in the season. They're 4-2 is what the Steelers will say and what the coaches will say. And there's still a lot of room ahead and a lot of season left. But there's certainly a lot of question marks on that defense after Joe Flacco does what he does. Now, to your point about Jamar Chase's 23 targets, there's a little bit more context here from Hembo. That's the most in a game since Antonio Brown's 23 targets in 2015, Week 9. Okay, let's go ahead and feed AB. It's the most in a game versus a Mike Tomlin-led Steelers. It's the most in a game with Joe Flacco as quarterback. Joe Flacco likes to get everybody a rock.
That's
keep
right.
everybody happy.
Yeah, he does.
So but 23 times, it's the most in, it's the most here, it's the most here. And he ate, and T. Higgins did too. So congrats on the offensive juggernaut.